Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of the city of Minsk in Belarus. Minsk is the capital of Belarus. As you can see on the map, there is a huge region over here that's also called Minsk. It's Minsk Oblast there. That is separate from the city of Minsk. You can see Minsk City here. Minsk City is its own little thing in the capital there. So we won't be talking about this whole area out here until we hit the ends in my series, which is kind of a bummer because there's a really cool UNESCO site in that region. But oh well, we're talking just about the city of Minsk, which has its own very long, fascinating history. If you've seen my last couple of videos in this series, it's kind of hard to do geography. Sometimes these cities are just cities. They very rarely have a geography, although tomorrow's city of blank, surprise, has really cool geography within it. But Minsk kind of doesn't. The river that flows through it is and I'll probably pronounce this wrong, the Svizhlosh River. I hope that's how you say that. And the city is also kind of hilly as well, but that's about it for geography. Pretty much that, which is fine because Minsk has a really fascinating, very long history. So I'd rather talk about that than its lack of geographical landmarks. Minsk is one of those cities that has a very long, detailed history that I'm not going to get into every single aspect of because this video would be way too long. So this will just be a general overview and not a detailed long history of the city. If anyone wants to include things that I deliberately left out, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I'd love to read those. But pretty much in a nutshell, the early Slavic people would have lived in this area. And by 980, this area would have been part of the Principality of Polotsk, eventually the Principality of Minsk, which is where the name comes from. In 1242, this area came under the control of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Lithuania, I don't know if you can see it, it's just up there today. But it was much, much, much bigger back then. And in 1569, the area became even bigger when Poland and Lithuania joined to become the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. So Minsk became a city within that Commonwealth. A quick note, in 1505, the Crimean Tatars sacked the city. Just little notes, I suppose. It wouldn't be the last time that someone would come and sack the city, though. There were many, many other invasions and occupations all throughout history. Between 1665 and 1660, Minsk was invaded by Russia during the Polish-Russian War. From 1708 to 1709, Minsk was occupied by the Swedes during the Great Northern War. And then in 1793, Russia would scoop up this area during the Second Partition of Poland. There is a brief occupation from France in 1812, headed by Napoleon on his way into Russia. And in 1915, Minsk was a battlefront city of World War I. It was one of the headquarters of the Russian front, and in 1918 it was invaded by Germany at the tail end of World War I. 1918, though, Russia collapses. Belarus became independent. Minsk became the capital of the Belarusian People's Republic until the Bolsheviks came and took control. Poland tried to fight off the invasion and occupy the city a few times, and that was between 1919 and 1920. But by then, the Soviet Union, as it was known, won out. But that was not the last invasion. The last invasion of Minsk was in 1941 when Nazi Germany invaded. And it was a very low period in Minsk's history. Minsk was really interesting because it had a very diverse population in the early 20th century. And by diverse, I don't mean like ethnically as much, but like in terms of religion. There was a very large Jewish population and a very substantial Catholic population, which in a Russian territory that's a little, or Western Russia, I should say, that's a little unusual to have a big Catholic presence, because usually it's Orthodox, you know. So there's a lot going on in Minsk. And of course, Nazi Germans couldn't have that. I don't think I need to state what happened to the Jewish population here. I think everyone knows the details of that during World War II. It was very, very brutal here in Minsk, and that's all I'll say because it's not relaxing and it's not YouTube friendly. In Belarus, this period is called the Great Patriotic War. I think they call it that in Russia as well. This time of Germany invading Russia, attempting to invade Russia, and Russia fighting back. In 1944, Minsk was attacked by the Soviets. A huge, huge, huge battle between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. The Soviets won at the end of the day, but when the dust settled, Minsk was pretty much destroyed. Most of the historic buildings were gone, and most people had lost their homes and livelihoods. It was pretty much all destroyed. Which meant that, now that the Soviet Union controlled the area, they could rebuild in their own brutalist style and make it very industrialized, very like Soviet-y, right? Big apartment blocks and lots of memorials and Lenin statues and hammers and sickles everywhere, things like that, all over the place. In 1991, the Soviet Union would collapse. Belarus would become independent again, but since then, they have still leaned very heavily on Russia. It's almost like tiny Russia. Of course, Russia's the biggest country in the world, so it's very tiny compared to Russia, but Belarus is essentially a little tiny Russia. Belarus is nicknamed the last dictatorship in Europe. It is ran by an individual who is BFFs with the leader of Russia. I think we all know who we're talking about there. And stand by Russia in everything that Russia does. So it's one of those countries where things are kind of bleak. But if you watch Yes Theory, and if you like my channel and believe in my ideals of education, relaxation, and world peace, Yes Theory is a channel you would love because they also have the same ideals that I do. They have a great video they posted last year of them going to Minsk and realizing that the default in humanity is kindness, not anger, not distrust, but kindness and open-heartedness is what 99% of people are at automatically. So it's a great video to watch. But that, in a nutshell, is the history of the city of Minsk. So without further ado, why don't I grab my tablet and I'll hit the lights and we will explore Minsk on Google Earth. Let's go. Here we are in the city of Minsk. But let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here's Belarus. Located here in Eastern Europe, you can see bordering Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine, and of course Russia. So it is a landlocked country here. And yeah, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. When I was little, I got really into geography when I was 5. When I was 5 years old in 1991. Well, I turned 6 in 1991. So as I was learning geography, the Soviet Union broke apart, and I took it very personally because all of a sudden there were like multiple new countries after I'd memorized all of them, and I was really upset. So I learned Belarus because to me it looked like Romania. So I did a lot with alphabetical order. That's how I learned Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, because they're in alphabetical order. So BR, so B's on top, right? Because that's the beginning of the alphabet. So if it looks like this blobby shape, if it's up here, it's Belarus, and if it's down here, it's Romania. That's how I learned. That was way too long of an explanation to figure out where Belarus is. Anyway, here is Minsk. And there's kind of a lot of interesting things. But what's really interesting, do you see how everything just turned very white on here? The satellite took these photos in like the dead of winter. So like here's a park covered in snow. So all of these pictures are just bright white. So I'm sorry for the brightness. Like as I zoom out, you can watch it turn to summertime. But all of the up close pictures are taken in deep, deep snow. So I guess we're starting here at the Island of Tears, which has a memorial garden here for quite a few things. Lots of interesting statues here and monuments. But if I recall, this park and the main monument is to commemorate the war in Afghanistan when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan in the 1980s. It seems that there are lots of Belarusians fighting in that war, so that's a memorial for them. Pretty sure that's that monument here. What else can we see? There's so much to see. I think I need to show you, and I gotta figure out where it is. It's somewhere over here. Oh gosh, is the everything filter on? Yes, okay, just checking, because that's very important. I need to show you some brutalist things. But the one I showed you in the intro already was very hard for me to find, which is a little silly because it's like one of the most famous spots in Belarus. But it was really hard for me to find on Google Earth. There's lots of museums in this city. Culture museum here, except this looks mostly exterior, but there's some interesting inside shots. Culture. Little dolls, how cute. A little horse head. Probably one of those little toys where it's on the stick, you know, a hobby horse. Alright, I think it's over here somewhere. It's on a corner like this. Gosh. Over here. Here it is. So what you saw in the intro was actually above a KFC. So this very brutalist image here, which is just gloriously Soviet, now sits atop a KFC. The most like American thing, the most westernized thing you could think of. A Kentucky Fried Chicken. So that's interesting, isn't it? Oh, look at this. Summertime, wintertime. This was when the satellite images were taken, for sure. Over here, though, I found this monument, which was for 1999 Stampede victims. There was, I think it was a music festival, and the weather turned very suddenly, and there was hail and lightning, and people rushed into this metro station, and there was a what do they call it? A crowd crush? One of those? It's horrifying. If you've seen like images of crushes like that, they're horrific. So that is a memorial for that very sad event. I also have to show you, the, I don't remember, I'm just going to type it in. I'm going to type in Minsk Library, National Library. Very iconic building. It comes up all the time because it's shaped like this. This very, like, I guess, like space age shape, which is appropriate because it was during the space age. Another very Soviet looking statue there. It was built during the space age, you know. This was all the rage back then in the late 50s, 60s. Could make little slogans on it. Yeah, this building comes up all the time when I was researching Belarus. There's lots of really neat parks here as well. There's a park of culture and recreation. Very, very Soviet sounding, right? And look at this. And of course, lots of memorials here as well. And bumper cars. You know, the best of both worlds. We've got, here's the Botanic Gardens. Very pretty. And they've got, looks like a little lantern show that they do. They got swans. They got lily pads. All kinds of plants here. I love Botanic Gardens. I love to see just how diverse they can get. I have to show you, Victory Park is pretty cool. This park is full of monuments commemorating victory in the Great Patriotic War, which is the Russian front of World War II, right? And it's a gorgeous park, as you can see when it's not covered in snow. I thought that was a Chinese flag, but I think it's a Soviet Union flag still. That's pretty wild. Big, gorgeous park. And there's lots of monuments all throughout. I'm trying to remember which one is the, like, big one. It's really hard when it's half in Cyrillic and half in English. It throws me off. Which one was it? It must be over here. That's a playground. Look at it's. Yeah, I think it's this. Road to the Future. Yeah, like, look at. It's so pointy. It's really neat, I think. I think it's really pretty. Very shiny. I bet it just gleams in the sun, right? But such an unusual shape. And yeah, there's little memorials and things all over the place. You can see over here, State Flag Square. You can see the shadow of the flagpole there. I wonder if, I guess we're not looking at State Flag Square because it doesn't want me to tap on it. Okay, that's fine. I suppose we all know what flags look like. Let me see. All of the parks are really pretty. There's a lot of parks here. As always, I highly encourage you to explore these areas yourself because there's like a surprising amount of parks in this city. You can see how brutalist the rest of it is. All of these big blocks of buildings, right? Very Soviet apartment buildings. Oh yeah, the museum I saw over here. I think this was the slideshow I was looking for. But yeah, it's got like dioramas of the battles. It's got actual tanks there. People throwing money in, I'm not sure. But yeah, lots of recreations and lots of actual, I'm sure, like actual flags and clothes and electronic devices and weapons and surgical equipment from the Great Patriotic War. There's pew-pews and airplanes. I bet that's a neat museum to explore. That's one of those museums you go to and you're like, I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy. This big gorgeous boulevard. A lot of the pictures here in Belarus I'm not very happy with, but it's also one of those places that like tourists don't come to and take pictures and upload to Google, right? It's not one of those cities. Not a lot of people come to visit Minsk and Belarus and all that. The Arts Museum. Wow, look at this old babushka, this Baba Yaga right there. Oh, that's a really pretty painting. All kinds of artwork here, very modern. Oh, and they've got some Salvador Dali as well. That's what I wanted to show you. Looks like they also have a big, where is it? I thought I saw, I don't know, they had a big, this Dali piece outside, but it was big. They also have this painting, which I've seen lots of discourse about in learning art history, because you can see this young girl is getting married, but to this very old man, and this old priest is like putting on the wedding ring, and all these old men are staring at her like, ugh. I feel like it's one of those paintings that you have to be a woman to really like feel it, you know. I saw a slideshow that you could see the big Salvador Dali statue outside, but oh well, that's okay. You saw the mini version. What's this? The History and Culture Museum. We got lots of cool old pottery and tools and jewelry. We got some bears, of course. It's like if you asked a child, can you draw a king? This is what they would draw, right? The Erskine cloak in red. Look at the beautiful dresses. Oh, so pretty. Very old paintings. What is that? Like a feathered headdress, looks like. Butterflies. This tiny little book. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's a, I want to say it looks like a little Quran or something. I can't tell what that is. Another cool king robe there. Old coins. Some European bison, not buffalo, bison. Little book. I don't know. Yeah, what is that? I guess it's a feathered headdress. I mean, it's really cool. All the swords and things. It must have been what people would wear when they used those kinds of swords to defend themselves. And there's lots of neat stuff. You can see the churches, the opera, lots of things to look at. But I think those are all the main things that I wanted to show you. The Palace of Culture for the railway workers. Lots of very Soviet named stuff. Actually, what I did want to show you is down here, which I think is still in the city limits. But I'm going to be very respectful and much quieter because this is a memorial for victims of the Holocaust. You can see here, sorry, my chair's so squeaky. Field of burial, where not just Jewish people, but also partisans, people who are fighting in the resistance movement who were taken out here. The ruins of the camp. And we can see, well, over here, what's left of that camp. And this very meaningful, like, forest out here where so much misery and suffering occurred. You can see all the trees are tagged. I think there's a picture somewhere in here that I think I have to tap on the forest. I don't remember where that slideshow is though. That is pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Little mushrooms. The trees out here have pictures on them. I don't think I'm going to find it. Oh, maybe it's this. No. Oh, but look. The graves here. Yeah, of people who were, I guess, taken out here, brought here, and never left. But that is where I will leave you for tonight. Sorry it's such on a dour note, but that's the history of Minsk. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, I forgot, all these pictures are just of the train station. Not very exciting. Like all of in the mixed slideshows, I'll just, oh, there's a roundabout under construction there. Not a very exciting slideshow. Let me find one more to end the video. Let's look at this park. Sure. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel. We have 2 more City of Blanks to go over. Tomorrow's will not be a capital city, but it does have a really great UNESCO site in it. And the last one will be a capital city. I wonder if you can guess what it is. It's in Europe. I'll tell you that. It is a European capital city. And it is, let me give you a hint which capital city it is. It is a city that, not Budapest, but like Budapest was once 2 different cities that combined. It's not Budapest. I've already done Budapest on the channel when we were in the bees. Can you guess what capital city it is? While you're down there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. These kids would give a thumbs up. You can too. And let me know all your thoughts down below. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. And I hope that you have a good night.